Good afternoon everyone and welcome sa isa na naman pong episode ng HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay at Iba pa. Namiss ko po kayong lahat dahil ang tagal ko pong nawala. Pero napakaganda po ng magiging topic natin this afternoon. Kaya lagay na po sa comment section, tag nyo na po yung mga friends nyo, let us know where you are watching from, share ang ating video for today para naman po mas marami tayong maisama sa ating diskusyonan ngayong hapon na to. Dahil ngayong hapon na to, ang pag-uusapan natin is the science behind successful leadership. Now, before anything else, syempre kailangan i-introduce po natin ang ating mga HR Cafe servers. We have Coach Darwin Rivers, a multi-awarded HR executive with more than 20 years of progressive leadership and management experience, working with top Fortune 500 multinational companies. He is also the founder and president of the Philippines HR Group, the largest Facebook group para po sa mga HR professionals. He is also a certified life coach, public speaker, and motivational speaker and HR consultant. Siyempre, na-miss din natin si Mentor John Bernard Ordonez Casi or Mentor Burns, an HR L&D practitioner and educator. He is well known for his online content creator and being an online content creator and social media influencer, as well as a radio broadcaster and creator of Unboxing Catholicism podcast and FB Live. He is also a motivational speaker and a financial wellness coach. Ayan. At syempre po, kasama natin ngayong hapon na to si Mentor Tina Co, ang Operations and HR Leader with broad local and overseas experiences, General Manager of Retail Company, and online content creator and blogger ng ating paboritong tinainmanila.com. We also have with us today, syempre pa, isa po sa mga founders and core group member po ng Philippines HR Group, si Sir Alan Cañete. Sir Alan is also an HR consultant at matagal na rin po siya in the learning and development industry. Sir Alan, kumusta po? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Ako'y mabuting. Maraming pong salamat at ako'y naimbitahan dito to become one of your hosts. No? Isang, sabi nila, guest host. Ang tawag ko doon, salingket. At natutuwa po ako dahil every time I'm invited here, I'm learning a lot. And at the same time, nakikita ko, nami-meet din natin virtually yung mga ating mga participants or viewers, no? At mas paano nakakapag-share ng konting mga inputs in the discussion. So, thank you very much.
And of course, yours truly, Mentor Ronald Florentino, with more than 20 years of HR practitioner experience working in different local and international companies. I am a public speaker and HR consultant and also the president and CEO of Uprush Social Geekers. Mentor Tina, kumusta ka?
Magandang hapon. Yes, ilang linggo rin ako nawala. I just came back from Israel and Jordan last night and I'm very excited to be here. Lalo-lalo na po ang ating speaker na si Ben Ampil who will be talking about the science of leadership. And of course, Sir Alan Cañete, na-miss kita. Alam mo naman, one of my favorite coaches talaga tong si Sir Alan. Laging so talagang jump pack tayo today.
Yes, ako, napakaganda ng ating episode for today. At kung first time niyo po dito sa HR Cafe is here to provide you with timely news and updates, lalong-lalo na po sa anything related to HR or human resources and labor relations, impart knowledge and experience that are value-adding and beneficial to our audience, discuss problems, issues, and challenges, as well as provide answers and resolutions, syempre with the help of our guest resource speakers. We are also here to discuss new technology, tools, and processes, as well as industry best practices. Isa rin po kaming virtual job board, so kung kayo po ay may mga openings, pakipadala lang po sa amin yan para may announce po namin. Pwede nyo rin po ilagay yung mga job openings sa ating comment section para naman po makita ng ating mga audience. So any job-related announcement, pwede po yan dito sa HR Cafe. We are also here to bridge understanding between employers and employees, as well as provide inspiration and motivation dahil bukas ay Monday na naman. At syempre, hindi mabubuo ang isang episode ng HR Cafe kung wala ang ating wow quote for the week. At ang ating pong wow quote for the week, may kasama ng picture ngayon. Sabi ni Joe Dispenza, if you want a new outcome, you will have to break the habit of being yourself and reinvent a new self. Ayan. Ano po ang masasabi nyo dito, ating mga kasamahan sa pananampalataya dito sa HR Cafe? Pakilagay po yan sa comment section. Mentor Tina and Sir Alan, ano po ang masasabi nyo tungkol sa ating wow quote for the week?
Si Mentor Tina muna. Maganda yung kanyang insight siguro dyan.
Mm.
Mentor Tina, go ahead.
Kasi 'di ba uso ngayon yung mga taong parang you have to be yourself. So every time, 'di ba, when we have children, because I'm a mother too, it's like you always have to be yourself, your true self. And then a lot of people they go through life. So they go to school, they get to work, and then they found out pala that a lot of people don't like themselves. Kasi lalo na for example, nasa work career ka, 'di ba? And it's not very natural for you to interact with people. You prefer to be alone all the time. Tapos later on, magsasabi ka, bakit hindi ako masyado pinapansin ng ibang tao? Tapos magrereklamo pa minsan. 'Di ba dapat ang HR ang gagawa ng mga initiatives para yung mga tao makikipag-interact with me? Or sabihin mo for example, my boss don't really notice what I do at work. Anong pwede kong gawin? Kasi 'di ba dapat be yourself. So dapat mapapansin talaga ako ng boss ko kung anong ginagawa ko kung magaling siyang boss. And I think parang as I grow older, na-change yung shift ko na instead of just being yourself, how about challenging yourself to be even better than what you are today? O, diba? So, for example, kung shy ka, hindi ka masyadong mahilig na makipaghalubilo sa tao, challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone and interact with other people so that they can get to know you too. Kung manliligaw ka sa isang babae, do not have the mindset na, mabait naman ako, magaling naman ako, bakit hindi niya ako nagugustuhan? Ang question dyan, bakit in-approach mo ba? Kinausap mo ba? Yung how do you interact with others? We have to remove that mindset of entitlement that everybody must get to know you, everybody must appreciate you without you doing things for yourself. So we have to break that habit of just being ourselves and in fact reinvent our new selves. So if you
Mm.
have a weakness, for example, okay, if you have a weakness, kasi lahat ng tao may weakness, kahit ang mga madaldaldal, kailangan mag-listen more, di ba? Hindi lang yung mga tahimik, kailangan maging maingay. Kahit ang mga madaldaldal tulad ko, we must also learn how to listen more, reflect, understand. We must always strive to be better. That's why I think as you grow older, mga 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, the older you get, the more interesting life becomes because you learn many different facets of yourself. If at 10 you are very quiet, then you become to blossom, then you become more mature, you become more wise. Pagdating mo ng 60, ang dami mo ng kwento. Kasi you don't revert lang to your true self nung bata ka pa. Nagets mo? So, as you get older, you become even more, like an onion, like a flower, you blossom step by step. And then yung tao, kaya usually ang mga matatanda, yun yung masarap kausapin. Kasi ang dami-dami mo matutunan sa kanya. Hindi lang siya mabait, hindi lang siya yung kind, yung lagi-lagi, ay, pilyo pala to. Ay, itong tao pala to, ganito pala siya. I believe that even at work and at play, at even at our own lives, we need to be more interesting. So we need to challenge ourselves to be more than what we are today. O, diba? Coach Alan,
Mm.
ikaw.
Ako ano kasi, I've been an avid follower of this guy, Joe Dispenza. And nakakatuwa yung kanya mga teachings, no, yung mga
Mm,
talks niya. He's not just a neuroscientist. He's also a quantum physicist, physiologist. Ang dami niyang field, no? At nag-aral siya sa Tibet, no?
mm,
Ano talaga, enroll sa isang meditation school doon. Napaghalo niya yung science and philosophy at ini-explain niya yung workings of the mind using his two paradigms, yung science and philosophy na yan. And I learned from him that yung pong yung idea natin of ourselves, yung current selves natin is not permanent. Sa kanya ko nalaman that you can actually reinvent yourself literally by tapping those inner potentials that you have not yet explored in yourself. Kung hindi ka marunong mag to play different musical instruments at sinasabi mong hindi ako musical I'm more on math. It's not
mm,
true. You have not really explored that part of yourself, and that if you'll only believe that you can learn and talagang you spend time and effort in learning, you will discover na meron ka palang side of yourself na musical. And vice versa. Marami sa atin nagsasabing, hindi ako math guy eh. Hindi ako,
Mm.
nag-flunk ako sa math during college. Kaya, ngayon tuloy, ngayong nagtatrabaho na ako, I'm very, very poor in math. Kaya ayoko ng accounting, ayoko ng mga any job that requires mathematics. Kaya paano yung HR, wala ngang math, pero you have to do some diagnostics, may mga surveys. So, kailangan mong gumamit ng math dyan, statistical analysis, etc. Yun ang part ng HR na inaayawan ng mga practitioners. Kasi we still believe na hindi tayo math guys. Wala tayong capability of learning math. That's not true. If you're going to really, really work on it, you'll discover na ang galing mo pala sa math. Something like that. So, ako po, naniniwala ko niyan dahil ever since na ako'y bata pa, yan. Marami akong na-explore na part ng mga talents at na-discover ko na pwede kong matutunan even yung mga new things. Alam nyo ba, nag-aaral ako ngayon ng beatboxing. Although nasa basics pa lang, hindi ko pwede ipakita ngayon dahil hindi pa masyado magaling. But nakita ko na pwede siyang aralin. Imagine, sa tanda ko to, nag-aaral ng beatboxing. Kasi you can always reinvent yourself. Okay? I draw a lot. I use different media in art. Ang paborito ko ngayon ay pastel colors. Nagsawa na ako sa watercolor, pastel na. Ayoko although kaya ko naman, kaya lang mahal yung oil paint. Kaya sa pastel na lang mas mura. I write songs and I love musical scoring. I have different collections of musical scoring software, and ngayon ang ginagawa kong project ay gumagawa ko ng a cappella using my voice alone. SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. At
Wow.
ang saya po dahil pag nabubuo ko na yung mga projects na yon, narinig ng mga kaibigan ko at mga membro ng pamilya, hindi sila makapaniwala ako daw pala yun. Dati ko na akong ginagawa ng college, pero with accessible na kasi mga software ngayon, lalong mabilis gumawa ng ganito. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ibig sabihin na kung ano lang yung linya mo ngayon, psychology, HR lang ako. No. You can always explore different potentials that you have at wala pong edad ang magpipigil sa'yo para mag-explore ng new things about yourself. So, babalik siguro ako one time, i-launch ko or i-share ko sa Facebook ko pag marunong na ako ng beatboxing. Kasi it is one of the requirements sa a cappella, ikaw na rin gagawa ng percussion mo using your voice and mouth. Yun po. Salamat sa ano. So, if you want a new outcome, you will have to break the habit of being yourself and reinvent a new self. Reinventing yourself at work is huwag kang maniniwala na hanggang dyan lang kakayahan mo sa trabaho. If you reinvent yourself, you will see that you can do things, a lot of things that you have not done before at work. At magugulat ka, yung performance ay puro breakthrough performance. That's it.
At saka, Coach Alan, importante din yun na meron ka ring ibang ginagawa. Kasi, di ba, like right now, ang dami nagre-reklamo na nababurnout na sila. I think yung pagkakaroon ng iba pang mga hobbies, iba pang mga pinagkakaabalahan, it's a good way para din ma-prevent yung yung pagka-burnout. Kasi kumbaga yung utak mo talagang ang dami niyang nagagawa. At I think dapat din nating isipin na tayong mga tao, we are actually multifaceted individuals, beings. Hindi lang tayo ginawa para sa isang bagay lang. So, i-maximize natin yun. Tama yung sinabi ni Coach Alan. Ako naman, iduduktong ko lang, may kasabihan si Katotong Albert Einstein. Ang sabi niya, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same result. And this is a bit related to our wow quote for the week. Kung gusto mo ng bagong outcome, okay, you have to break kung ano man yung ginagawa mo na and reinvent yourself, reinvent things think or look at things in a different perspective para mag-iba yung outcome na mangyayari. Kasi kung pare-pareho lang yung ginagawa mo pero ine-expect mo na magiging, let's say, HR ka, recruitment ang ginagawa mo, pero ine-expect mo na at some point magiging magaling kang HR without looking into other facets, walang mangyayari sa'yo. Ayoko mag-compend kasi panay math. Ito lang ako, dito lang ako sa safe. Walang mangyayari. You keep doing the same thing over and over again. Paano ka ngayon makakapag-gain ng bagong skills or magiging magaling sa iba pa mga areas ng HR? So yun po yung sinasabi natin mga kapatid sa ating pananampalataya sa HR. Tatandaan po natin yan. Kayo po ay multifaceted beings. Marami po kayong pwedeng gawin. Hindi lang po isang bagay. So discover nyo po yan kung ano pa yung mga hidden talents ninyo. Huwag nating gawing hidden yan. Malapit nang magpasko, malay natin, di ba? Tulad nga nasabi ng ating speaker for today, na kung malapit na ang Pasko, baka pwede nating gamitin yan at pagkakitaan. Nung dumating yung pandemic, marami sa atin na nakadiscover na marunong palang mag-bake, magdalgona, mag-alaga ng halaman. Maintain natin yan kasi makakatulong sa atin yan. Not just for income, pero para din to break the monotony at hindi kayo na-burn out. Ayan. At syempre pa, kung meron tayong wow quote for the week, meron din tayong HR question for the week. Ito po yung mga questions na madalas na itatanong sa Philippines HR Group. So ngayong week po ito, ang ating katanungan is, what can HR do if employee files a resignation and no longer reports for work the next day? Pagka-file, wala kagad kinabukasan. Can we hold his or her clearance and final pay? Mentor Tina, ano pong masasabi mo tungkol dito sa ating katanungan sa linggong ito?
Usually, okay, a lot of people, when they resign, they only consider the job that they have right now. So, a lot of people, di ba, kunyari magre-resign ka kasi hindi ka na masaya sa current employer mo. So, for example, there's many reasons. So, usually, meron siyang namamersonal, hindi ka na-overlook yung promotion mo, hindi ka na-appreciate, or you might have some family problems like you need to go back to the province or wala mag-aalaga sa anak mo. So a lot of people, they feel that once they submit the resignation letter, and if they put effective date is today or tomorrow, yun na yung yun na yung last day nila. 'Di ba? Parang sila iniisip nila, at least tapos ito, at least nagpaalam ako. I told my employer I don't want to work for them anymore, and I told them I'm gonna last day na today or tomorrow. So dapat since nagpaalam ako, clearance na yon. Dapat bigay nila sa akin yung final pay. Everybody forgets that while it is your right to resign from any job, the standard law is 30 days notice or 1 month. Kahit na hindi siya nakasaad sa contract or sa rules and regulations. Kasi a lot of people are saying, wala naman sa contract na nasignan ko, wala sa rules ko, wala nga kaming handbook. Why do I have to render 30 days? Because that's the standard that's indicated in Article 300 of the Labor Code. 30 days notice or 1 month. Now, if you forgo that, ang tawag po dyan is not nakapag-resign ka. Ang tawag po dyan is absence without leave or AWOL. A lot of people are using abandonment of work. Do not use abandonment of work. Mahirap po yan i-prove pag kayo ay nagpa-file na ng legal papers. Use absence without leave. So when a person commits the absence, you have to send the person a return to work order. Letter dapat na inuutos po ninyo siyang bumalik sa trabaho. Ulitin ko ha. So a lot of people, ginagawa nila is, ay nag-absent, nag-awol na. And then after that, hindi mo nabibigay, bumalik. Tapos hold mo yung final pay. Teka. Meron ka bang documentation that says na pinapapasok mo yung tao na yon? Again, the day na nag-absent si staff, the day after, padalhan nyo na siya ng return to work order. Nagsasabi na, umabsent ka kahapon, expect namin pumasok ka, pero umabsent ka, pinapapasok ka namin kaagad. We understand you might get sick, be hit by a bus, you might be hospitalized. So you have to present your medical certificate that justifies your absence yesterday. But we order you to report to work. Because if a person doesn't report to work, ang tawag po dyan is insubordination. Nagbigay kayo ng isang utos that is work-related pero hindi tinupad. So that's another reason that you can actually terminate a person for just causes. Okay? So a lot of people, they don't send the letter. There's no return to work order. There is no incident report regarding the unauthorized work, absence without leave. Hindi nyo siya pinadalhan, email lang ba? No, you have to send it via LBC or any courier and post office, ha? Email, text, whatever. Kasi a lot of what they do is, nawala na sa work. Tapos hindi mo napapansinin. You must order that person to return back to work so that it is insubordination and awol. If sa mga taong na nag-aawol, I'll leave the other questions for the others. Pero sa mga taong nag-aawol, please don't forget. Sa akin as a recruiter, one of the questions that I ask applicants is, how many days turnover ka sa previous mong job? If the person says 5 days or 7 days, parang sabihin ko, or wala basta nagpaalam ako pero hindi na ako pinarender. Red flag na yan sa akin. Ibig sabihin, there's a high possibility nag-awol si staff. And tulad lang yan sa isang cheating partner pagdating sa relationships. If a person cheats on other people, they will also cheat on you. So that's the reason why I discourage people na mag-awol. Kasi kung ano ka dito, sabihin mo, hindi, nag-awol lang ako dahil na-abuse ako eh. Pagdating mo sa next company and sa next company, sila din nag-a-abuse sa'yo. But if you are professional through and through, pag dito, maayos ka nagpaalam, 30 days ka nagpaalam, bayad naman po yun. In the next company, kahit na ang hirap-hirap mong mukhain ng boss mo, pero tinitiis mo pa rin, that shows a lot of values and character, and it's somebody that I want in my organization. Ay? Alan, kayo po.
Tama naman lahat yun eh, may sinabi mo, ma'am. At alam mo, pag in-explain ko yan, magiging copy-paste lang. I have the same opinion. It's really important na i-honor ng resignee yung 30-day notice. Kasi nasa batas po yan eh. Now, ang magiging komplikasyon lang is that kung magi-start na siya sa kabila, at hindi na abot ng 30 days, halimbawa, 1 week na lang, kailangan na siya magsimula at mag-process pa siya ng ibang papers niya, yun ang problema. So, that person has to talk to the previous employer and explain honestly kung anong situation, and maybe you can negotiate. She can negotiate na baka po pwedeng iklian na lang po natin yung 1 month. I'm willing naman po na babawasan yung aking last pay at para lang po hindi naman ma-compromise yung lilipatan ko. Something like that. Just have to be civil. Kesa yung para kang palos na bigla na lang nawala tapos walang paliwanag, no?
Ghosting.
Unethical yun eh. Unethical at unprofessional. Pangit yun kapag nag-background investigation, yun ang malalaman. So, mas mabuti pa yung dumaan tayo sa tamang proseso. Tama po?
Tama si Coach Alan, tama si Mentor Tina. So to summarize, number 1, ang 30 days po ay nandun po yan sa loob ng labor code. May kontrata kayo or wala, nandun po yan, required po kayo. As long as merong employer-employee relationship, you're required to render 30 days. Ngayon, kung kunwari sinabi sa inyo ng inyong employer, wala nang kailangan na turnover, wala nang kailangan na mag-render, pwede ka nang hindi pumasok bukas, then that's the only time na po pwedeng hindi na sundin yung 30 days. Kasi ito po, ay yung 30 days na yan, it's not for the protection of the employee, it's for the protection of the employer. Specific si labor code dyan na ang pinoprotektahan yan is the employer to ensure na hindi masisira yung operations. Correct. So 30 days ang binibigay ng ating batas. Ngayon, kung 30 days tapos sinabi ni employer, naku, hindi ka pa tapos, pwede bang extend? Yan. O pwede na kayong tumanggi ngayon dyan at sabihin nyo na, sorry, 30 days na. Kasi yun lang naman talaga yung po pwede. May mga nagtatanong yan, nakalagay po kasi sa kontrata ko, 60 days, 90 days, etc. Kung yung kontrata, Hindi kayo under duress, hindi kayo pinuwersa, nakita nyo na nakalagay talaga 90 days at pumayag kayo, pwede po kayong i-hold doon sa 90 days na yon. Kailangan nyo pong sundin yun. So, isasabi natin palagi sa mga aplikante, babasahing maigi yung kontrata bago kayo pumirma, lahat na mga gusto nyo itanong nyo na kagad. At tulad nga ng sabi ni Coach Alan, pag kayo po ay nag-resign at kailangan nyo na mag-start sa kabilang company, kausapin nyo yung boss ninyo. Huwag yung bigla kayong mawawala at kayo na mismo yung magdedesisyon na, ay, hindi na ako papasok, kailangan ako sa kabilang company. Kasi yung kabilang company nyo po, kung maayos din ang HR nila, maiintindihan nila kung bakit nyo kailangan mag-render ng 30 days. Lahat ng HR aware dyan na ang requirement ay 30 days. So, kung talagang kailangan nila kayo at gusto nila kayo, willing to wait naman yung mga yan. Ayan. Okay po?
May question tayo. Teka lang, ha? Rona, pakilang. Question ni IB, what can you advise people or HR managers that have a high employee turnover na madalas nag-aawol? And what usually are the reasons? All right? Coach Alan?
Maraming factors. Minsan sa organization mismo or sa company, iba naman yung employee na ang may cause nun. So, ang usual reason, sinasabi nila, madalas kong narinig dyan, greener pasture, ano pa ba, yung may problema sa health, may problema sa residence, maglilipat, at kung ano pang mga hosts of reasons. But these are things na beyond the control of the employer or the company. Pero what is within your control is your HR programs. Meron ka bang mahusay na engagement program para ma-inlove yung employee sa kumpanya mo at magdalawang isip kung ikaw ay hihiwalayan? Kung wala tayong ganitong mga programs that employees will have an easy way of deciding na iwanan ko na tong company na ito dahil wala naman kaming walang emotional investment, walang attachment, at there's no reason to stay economically, talagang may kulang yata on the part of the employer. Kaya ang tingin ko dyan, to be proactive, we have to really create HR programs that will engage employees, make them, sabi ko yung term ko kanina, make them fall in love with your company so that they would have second thoughts of leaving you because they really like to be with the company. Something like that. Yan po nakikita ko dyan.
Sa akin naman po, it's like, totoo to but it's like dating. You don't really need to know too much why you were dumped. Okay? Kasi it can be many reasons, true or untrue. So, pwedeng sabihin ng tao, uuwi ng probinsya, sabi ng tao, may ibang trabaho, mag-a-abroad, magpapahinga, masyado siyang stressed. It's nice to document it so that later on you can set another team to see why and stop that reason. Pero on the moment that when people resign, ang mas importante for me is that the HR or the company has a standardized policy on resignation and how a person undergoes clearance gets the final pay. Dapat standardize yan regardless of reason, emergency or hindi. So sa amin po, pag nag-aawol, kunyari isang tao hindi na pumasok today, kinabukasan standard na po sa amin na magpapadala na po kami ng sulat via LBC at saka post office with reply. And also, texting the person, pumasok. Bakit hindi ka po pumasok? Hinaantay ka namin, pumasok ka po kasi hinahanap ka namin. Please confirm. Usually, the response there sa mga taong nag-aawol, hindi ka napapansinin. May tao, nagba-block if you send a message on Facebook Messenger, seen, and then after that, you can't send a message anymore. If that's the case, pag hindi pumasok pa rin the next day, you have to invite them na to admin hearing. So sa amin, sinasabay na po namin yung incident report, notice to explain, and also invitation to admin hearing to give the person the chance to explain. Pagdating ng admin hearing, we will still be there. We will have minutes. We will have the person still, mga witnesses to sign, mga present there to sign. 5 days later, dapat talaga may notice of decision. Because we've had experiences na pag pinadalhan nyo ng return to work, NTE, IR, nag-admin hearing kayo, pero hindi kayo nag-notice of decision, minsan they're like zombies. They're dead and they come back from the dead. And then babalik po sila sa company mo 1 year, 2 years later, ma'am, yung clearance ko, final pay ko, etc. May iba, makakakuha ka pa ng DOLE letter. Okay? Sila na nga nag-awol, ang gagawin po nila, instead of magki-clearance po sila, pupunta na lang sila sa DOLE para humabol ng final pay even without the clearance. So it's very important to undergo due process. Return to work order, incident report, invitation to admin hearing, lalo-lalo na pag may termination. After that, notice of decision 5 days after the admin hearing. Very important yon para wala pong issue later on. Sino maglalakad ng clearance sa department? The company must set the clearance procedure. The employee must undergo it. Pag wala pong, hindi po dumating na wala si employee, you don't release the final pay. Okay? You don't release the final pay. But, please document that. Send them a letter that they have to come back para magpa-clear so that maparasas yung final pay. Final pay can be chased after 3 years, money claims. Ha? After 3 years, pag bumalik ng 4 years, sorry na lang. Rona?
Doktor ko lang, Mentor Tina, doon sa binanggit mo kanina na importante yung due process. We actually had one client na nangyari sa kanila, nag-awol, tapos wala silang ginawa. Tapos after 2 years, bumalik. Pagbalik ni employee, nag-serve sila ng termination letter. Pinasunan sila ng illegal dismissal. So, nakasunod sila ng illegal dismissal kasi nga hindi nasunod yung substantive due process. Yun yung palagi natin sinasabi. Kaya yung tinawag na twin notice rule kasi magkakambal yan. May NTE, may NOD. Hindi po pwedeng NTE tas walang NOD or notice of decision or wala kayong NTE, notice to explain, pero may notice of decision. Hindi po pwede yun. Kailangan palaging magkasama yung dalawang yan. NTE, ample time to be heard or ample opportunity to be heard. Tapos si NOD. Okay? Ayan, tatandaan po natin yan. I-highlight ko lang po yung sinabi ni Sir Dennis kasi mukhang maganda po ito. Take a look seriously at the problem, conduct analysis, determine the turnover rate per department or per job, and for the total organization. Results are different. Make statistical analysis, graph, identify big turnover rates, and use critical thinking, identify interventions. That's the way that, one of the ways on how you can manage yung inyong turnover. Lahat ng companies ay merong turnover, may attrition. Hindi naman yung mga empleyadong hinire natin, hindi naman yan forever nasa company ninyo. Aalis at aalis yan. Meron tayong tinatawag na acceptable limit. So, dapat alam nyo kung ano yung acceptable limit for your organization and for your industry. Pag nag-peak or out of pattern na, dun kayo dapat kabahan. Okay?
I'd like to add lang last. Usually, pag may maraming umaalis, high attrition rate, it's usually because of the line manager. There is something wrong with how the boss is dealing talaga with the colleagues.
I agree.
Now, it doesn't mean that employees are correct all the time. Maraming ways, minsan, mali na yung employee, sugod pa rin, ang lakas ng paninindigan, mag-argue, magko-complain, magdodole. Okay, so it doesn't mean the employees are always right and abused. But if the line manager knows how to talk and deal with the employees, the tension and the issue is usually minimized or is gone. So ang pinaka-importante talaga is the training of the line manager. Kasi minsan masyadong stricto, minsan masyadong dictatorial, pero problema din pag masyadong mabait. Pag masyadong mabait, nadami yung reklamo. Oo, so balance talaga.
Alam mo, ang nakakatawa dyan, hindi siya lumalabas sa exit interview. Malalaman mo na lang na ang line manager pala ang reason or whoever is the superior kung bakit siya nag-resign kapag nakuha niya na yung last pay niya at lahat para mga. So, they are not really honest kasi natatakot din sila baka raw i-hold pa kapag sinabi yung totoo. And trabaho po nating HR ang alamin ang totoo. Hindi yan lalabas sa exit interview eh. So we have to do a lot of strategies in order to get to the crux of the matter. Kung ano talagang cost tumataas. Ito, madalas namin ginagawa dyan. Tama yung sinabi na gumawa ka ng statistical analysis kasi bakit isang department lang ang pinakamataas ang attrition rate among all departments. Tapos, ang madalas pa, umaalis yung mga, hindi lang mga bago, pati yung mga regular employees, mga matatagal na sa kumpanya, At ang pag nag-problem analysis ka, ang nagsimula yun nung na-install or na-assign doon yung bagong manager na hindi nila kilala. Tumaas yung attrition rate, no? At yun, makikita mo, through correlation and further investigation, yung bagong manager pala ay walang mababa ang EQ, no? Emotional intelligence, and leadership is very poor, transactional masyado, sabi ko nga, dictatorial, and that's the real cause. And that is something that we HR practitioners have to investigate also. At maaaring yun nga ang cause. Kasi statistically, siya lang ang laging mataas ang contributor sa turnover rate eh. So something like that. You need to use also some statistics para to substantiate these rumors na problema yung manager. Yes, yun lang po.
Ayan. So kayo po mga kasamahan sa HR, ano po sa tingin nyo ang ating kasagutan nyo po sa ating HR question of the week? Ilagay nyo po yan sa ating comment section para naman po ma-discuss din po natin maya-maya kung meron pa po tayong idadagdag. Pero bago po ang lahat, good news po para sa nasa BARMM or yung ating Bangsamoro region. Dahil po effective July 2021, bago na po ang minimum wage rate. So para po doon sa ating non-agricultural sector in Cotabato City and Special Geographic Area, 341 na po ang minimum wage rate. Para naman sa nasa provinces of Maguindanao, Lanao del Sur, Basilan, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi at iba pong mga syudad sa Marawi and Lamitan, 360 na po ang minimum wage rate. Pag kayo naman po ay nasa agricultural sector within Cotabato City and Special Geographic Area, 316 po ang minimum wage. At agricultural organizations within the provinces of Maguindanao, Lanao del Sur, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, and other cities within Marawi and Lamitan, 306 pesos na po ang ating minimum wage rate. Ayan. So, kumpleto na po lahat ng mga regions ay nagkaroon na po ng increase sa ating minimum wage. Ayan. At sabi naman po ni SSS, pinapaalala po nila kung kayo po ay nag-avail ng ating PRRP5 condonation program or yung ating short-term loan condonation program, sabi po ni SSS, huwag kakalimutan ng inyong amortization due date. Bayaran po ang inyong loan on or before the due date para hindi po mag-default ang inyong restructured loan. Kasi pag nag-default po kayo, magiging due and demandable na po siya at ito po ay magiging subject na to 10% per annum until fully paid. So, mangyayari po is yung proportionate balance ng inyong condonable penalty after the last payment shall become part of the new loan principal under the defaulted loan account. So, kung ang inyong pong approval date ay between November 14 to 30 of 2021, ang 6th amortization month nyo po ay June 2022. Ang last payment po dyan ay July 31. Kung kayo naman po ay kasama sa mga team habol, ibig sabihin approve po kayo between May 1 to 14. Ang inyo pong 6th amortization month is on December 2022 at ang last payment date nyo po ay January 31, 2023. Okay? Dapat po ang restructured loan ay fully settled on or before yung dates po na nakalagay dyan. Okay? Huwag kakalimutan para hindi po lumaki ang ating utang sa SSS. At annyeonghaseyo, sabi ni Easy, meron na po silang OPA, Online Public Assistance. Naku, kung hindi nyo pa po alam, si Easy po ay meron po silang public assistance face-to-face via Zoom, hindi naman po personal. Pero kumbaga makikita nyo po yung kausap ninyo. Every Monday and Thursday po pwede nyo pong makuha yung link sa kanila pong Facebook page. So ilalagay po nila yan, pero ito po ay first come, first serve basis. I-accept po kayo ng host facilitator ng Zoom room kung isa po kayo sa mga nai-slot for that particular day. Ma-notify naman po kayo kung kayo po ay ma-accommodate for that particular day. So Mondays and Thursdays lang po yan. Check nyo lang po ang Facebook page ng ating pong Employees Compensation Commission para makita nyo po yung link para dyan po. Okay? Mentor Tina, meron ka po bang magandang balita mula kay Pag-ibig?
We are encouraging everyone to sign up for your Pag-ibig Loyalty Card, Pag-ibig Loyalty Card Plus. Please inquire as well with your nearest Home Depot because I think they have a 2-day, at least sa Ortigas po, they have a 2-day loyalty Pag-ibig Loyalty Plus registration. So instead of going to Pag-ibig, dun na po kayo sa Home Depot, pwede na po kayo mag-register. But you need to pre-register. There's the deadlines. If you look at their website, makikita nyo po yan. you really get a lot of discounts with Pag-ibig Loyalty Plus. Okay? You get a discount po sa Home Depot, that's 10% off on all regular item. And also hotels, hotel H2O I think has a discount, McDonald's, GB Shoes. Ang dami-dami pong listahan. So for us, we're all registering on July 22 kasi sayang talaga. One of the pinakamahal is the construction cost. That includes the wood, the toiletries, the appliances, and you can get a lot of it from Home Depot. Sobrang ano, parang ang ganda-ganda talaga ng discount card na to, 10%. That's a lot
True.
of money. Lalo na pag tiles, 'di ba? Grabe. If you buy 30,000 worth of tiles, that's 3,000. That's a big, big discount talaga. Next. With also, there's good news as well. Hirap na hirap ang marami mga employers in applying for SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. And now they can try to just log on to https column / business.gov.ph to register for their SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. And if all else fails, you can always go to the branch. Pero try first doon sa online kasi you really need to do so. And if you don't do that, babalikan ka talaga, magsasend talaga ang Pag-ibig, lalong-lalo na ang sipag nilang mag-send ng message ng post office sa inyo 2 years later saying na hindi kayo nakapaghulog ng Pag-ibig sa empleyado niyo. So please register po because that is a mandated benefit by the government. Okay, next.
Ay, Mentor Tina, dagdag ko lang dito sa ating Central Business Portal. So, hindi lang po ito for Pag-ibig, for PhilHealth and SSS and BIR and SEC din po ito. So, yung mga
Yes.
bagong kayong businesses po, register po kayo dyan para makuha nyo po kagad yung mga numbers para hindi na kayo nahihirapan sa pagre-register din naman or pag-enroll ng inyong mga empleyado. Ayan.
Okay, and just a reminder again, do not ever share your name, tirahan, date of birth, at iba pa for any reason. PhilHealth, SSS, Pag-ibig, because a lot of people are being scammed nowadays. And if kayo po ay hindi na scam, yung mga kakilala nyo po, gamit-gamit ng pribadong impormasyon ninyo, they can also scam your friends and your relatives. So you have to be very careful in sending any personal information either by email, text, or even yung mga Netflix, diba? So you have to be very careful with that. If you want to report, you can actually email or call the PhilHealth channel at 0917-898-7442 or email them at actioncenter@philhealth.gov.ph. Next.
Mhm. All right, kung kayo po ay pagod na, stressed out, at gusto nyo magpahinga, well, we recommend this El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club. Kung kayo nagsawa na sa pagpunta sa mga Boracay at iba pa mga lugar, try this resort. It is situated in Lingayen at it is just a 10-minute drive away from the airport. They boast of daming facilities. They have private beach, meron silang outdoor pool, there are a range of facilities offered to those staying at the resort such as laundry facilities, luggage storage, room service. For those looking for outdoor adventures, no, meron pa silang outdoor adventure, and the resort has a wide range of activities including fishing, surfing, and kayaking. Ayun po ang El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club. And ito, the ASEAN HR Summit is proud to have the Philippines HR Group as its community partner because this will be happening on August 1 and 2, 2022, of course. 2022, of course, at Shangri-La, the Fort Manila. And they dubbed this event as the Human Resource Transformative Changes, Agile, Aligned, Accelerated. So book now, no? Book your seats now at and visit the website itself at ASEANSummit.com. Don't miss this chance to meet old colleagues and meet new ones at this annual gathering for HR professional. And napakarami. Ang details po dito ay makikita nyo sa mga posters and their email address and also other details like the phone number. All right, yung kanila pong Ito is another event naman. This will be happening at Marina Bay Sands Hotel. That's the Tech HR SEA or C, Southeast Asia on August 25, 26, 2022 at Marina Bay Sands, as I said, hotel. Be one of the 100 HR leaders from the Philippines who will be given a free VIP pass worth $499, pero Singapore dollars to, no? To the two-day Tech HR conference to be held at Marina Bay Sands Resort Hotel. Brought to you by PHRG in partnership with People Matters. And details on the FB group page of the PHRG. Tayo po. And here's another one coming from eShield. They are offering exclusive discounts for PHRG and HR Cafe members. You'll be getting 15% exclusive discount when you avail of eShield for your company. So register at their website. That's www.shield.me/phr. eShield is a partner of PHRG and HR Cafe to promote a healthy lifestyle to your company's employees. Yan po yung ating mga sponsors. At this point, um, I would like to introduce our speaker for this episode. You see, um, for the last 2 years, we as a nation also experienced a talagang napakahirap na situation because of the COVID-19. All right? The prolonged crisis had created unprecedented uncertainties and challenges which have affected everyone's mental health and performance. Hindi lang dito, globally, no? Lalong-lalo na sa mga countries na talagang dito sa European countries, naku, napakadami din po ang affected dyan, ang mga casualties. And just as we were excited to return back to our offices and face the new normal, the world now watches in horror as Russia wages an unprovoked war against the helpless citizens of Ukraine. Uncertainty causes our human brain to react with a fear response. And fear or stress, in turn, shuts down our ability to think logically and rationally. Now, the question is how then do we thrive instead of just merely surviving during such crisis? Okay? Now, our speaker, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Ampil, will tell you a lot of things about how to thrive, not just survive during such trying times. He is a certified neuroscience coach. He has taken neuroscience courses from Harvard Online University in USA, based in USA, the Optimind Neuroscience Institute, also based in USA, the Academy for Neuroscience and Education, based in UK, Neuroscience Academy in Australia, and Neuroscience School in Canada. He is also a US certified neuro linguistic programming or NLP trainer, and he graduated with a degree in engineering, then went on to acquire an MBA and a Master of Science degree in economics. But more importantly, he promises to help us understand our minds without incurring a headache. To help us live our lives, or rather, live our best lives in this new normal. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Ben Ampil. Bigyan naman natin ng virtual clap. Yan. Thank you so much.
Ako pumapalakpak sa sarili ko eh. Maraming salamat for the introduction. Magandang hapon po to the gazillions na madlang people na fans globally, extraterrestrially hanggang sa ibang planeta ng HR Cafe. Pleasure to meet you. Ako po ay overprivileged. Parang underprivileged child talaga. Hindi po, abuse po ako doon. I'm very privileged to meet you, Coach Tina, Coach Alan, Coach Rona. And as we had been sharing, dun po, I was taking a lot of notes backstage. Coach Tina, ang dami ko natutunan about cheating and dating. Coach Alan, alam ko nang gagawin kong side gig, beatbox kasi malapit na magka-perya tsaka magkaroon ng request for proposals for Christmas party entertainment. Coach Rona, yung bisyo mo, tigil mo na. Yun ang masasabi ko. Pero with our remaining minutes, I want to, we'll go off script na. Maganda yung questions kanina ni Ayi tsaka ni Dennis. And I would just like to give one over parang encapsulated Coach Rona capsule, drugs na naman. Private group po yun. Tingnan lang po sa website ng NBI kung ano aming pinag-uusapan. Yung brain natin is programmed just for two things, pain and pleasure. Simple lang po ang brain natin, pain and pleasure. And all other emotions can be subjugated onto those two things. Yung ating initial quotation from Joe Dispenza, siya po ay isang batikang neuroscientist. Meron po siyang very famous experiment. Meron po siyang ginather ng mga tao na meron pong tama sa utak. Meaning meron po sa brain, Coach Alan, nakarelate ka naman kagad. Hindi, ikaw yun. Si Coach Darwin yun. Happy birthday man namin, Coach Darwin. Pero meron po silang brain defect. Nagkaroon sila ng aksidente that somehow damaged their brains, and the areas of the brains that had to do with emotions were damaged. So as in effect, they couldn't feel any emotion. Kaya Mentor Tina, pag sila nilapastangan sa marriage, wala silang emotions. And alam niyo po ang na-discover ni neuroscientist Joe Dispenza, the one whom we quoted earlier, people without emotions, yung pong kanyang sample set, couldn't make decisions. So if you reverse it, if you do not put emotions into your communication, and this has very good applications for marketing, which is neuromarketing, people will not be able to make a decision to buy your product. That's why marami pong mga commercials, for example, na emotional. Coach Alan, kasi ikaw lang yung gender natin. You represent the male, mabuhay ang mga kalalakihan. Huwag niyo na po sagutin to. Paano pinopromote sa Pilipinas ang alcoholic drinks? Huwag niyo po sagutin, pwede niyo po lagi sa comments. Normally, meron pong puting kabayo at meron pong nakasakay na
Weak wheel.
Diba? Alam ko yan.
Alam niyan.
Famous yan. Nawawala na yan ngayon sa marketing natin diba?
Right. Pero Mentor Tina, anong kinalaman doon sa produkto? They are banking on your emotion. Kaya kaming dalawa ni Coach Alan, paminsan-minsan na umiinom ng tubig. So going back, dalawa lang po ang programa ng ating brain. It is programmed for pleasure or pain. Ngayon, we talk of happiness. It is natural to be happy, to want to be happy. But happiness ni Mentor Tina is different from my happiness. So let's make it mathematical. The happiness equation is LC, life conditions, equals BP, your blueprint for what a happy life should be. So if LC, life conditions, equals BP, your blueprint, happy ka. Now, stress on the flip side is LC is not equal to BP. So example, yung sa tanong ni listener Ayi tsaka ni listener Dennis, which were very good, which were asking about employee attrition. Basically, yung LC ni employee is not equal to BP. Yung kanyang pinangangarap na maging experience on the job, whether it's high salary, whatever, hindi natutupad ng employer. Even if that may be the best, great place to work employer. Kasi all of us are humans and we have individual emotions. So LC is not equal to BP and stress. Ngayon, dalawa po yung parte ng ating brain involved with stress. The first one is called the amygdala. Popular po yan kasi na alam ng karamihan about the freeze, flight, or fight. Yung mga cavemen, yan lang po yung brain na na-develop. Tawag po dyan limbic system. Yung mga kanununuan natin, lampas pa kay Magellan, lampas pa kay MacArthur, mga cavemen, only had the limbic system. As the needs for modern skills develop, tulad po nung language, nag-grow po yung cortex. Pag sinabi natin, guys, describe a brain, sasabihin nila when I talk to Filipino audiences, para siyang chicharong bulaklak. When I
Mhm.
talk to global conferences, para siyang crumpled paper. Kung wari pa kutsala ng Ingles, ano? Hindi nila magets ang chicharong bulaklak eh. Yung ating cortex, yung parang chicharong bulaklak, that is the entire brain. Kaya po siya kulubot-kulubot is to make more space. Pag stretch yung inyong cortex, it will occupy space 3 square meters. Malaki po yan. Huwag niyo po subukan mamaya to. Baka mamaya ilatag yung brain niyo sa lamesa. Masakit po yun, I assure you. Nasubukan ko na po yun. So, ang nangyayari po, yung
Ano niyo
prefrontal
nasubukan, Sir Ben?
nakalagay niyo dyan, Mentor Tina, do not try this at home, children. So,
Di
yung
discuss.
prefrontal cortex is the one behind our forehead. Yan po ang responsible for cognitive thinking. That is also the most late in development. In fact, you mentioned, Mentor Tina, that you're a mother. Yung pong ating prefrontal cortex is only fully developed from ages 18 to 24. Kaya yung mga teenagers natin are behaving that way because they're still working with underdeveloped prefrontal cortices. And hindi lang po siya logic ng hinahawakan. Our prefrontal cortex is also responsible for inhibition, meaning we either delay the gratification for the present and the future. Alam po natin yung popular na marshmallow test. Binigyan po yung mga 6 years old na marshmallow. If you don't eat it for 5 minutes, I'll give you another marshmallow. Pero 6 years old po yan. Kaya some teenagers don't exhibit, they want immediate rewards. Hindi po sila makapaghintay. They do not plan for the future. That is because of underdevelopment of the prefrontal cortex. Now, pag yung pong amygdala, na naghahanap lang po yan ng threat. Kasi yung pong mga cavemen natin, they were only programmed to survive. Wala po silang problema nung caveman time ng Hawaii 5. Ano papanurin ko sa Netflix? Wala silang ganun. Apoy, dinosaur, tigre, yun lang po yun. So whenever the amygdala detects a threat, whether real or imagined, yan po ang critical, whether real or imagined, nagkakaroon po siya ng fear response. Nagre-release po yung ating katawan ng adrenaline. Kaya yung ating pong puso, ang bilis po ng pump, yung ating paghinga shallow, yung ating muscles tight, so we're ready for freeze, flight, or fight. But the bad thing is, it shuts down our ability to think. Kaya ang ating solution in order for corporations to lower the employer attrition, ang acronym po ay SCARF. SCARF. Ito po ang 5 behavioral triggers that if I take it away from you, Mentor Tina, if I diminish your scarf, S is for status, C is for certainty, A is for autonomy, R is for relatedness, F is for fairness. If I diminish any of those 5 or a combination thereof, your brain will release adrenaline. May stress ka. Kaya going back to the questions again, para at least meron tayong complete example and illustration of neuroscience for work and life benefits. If you are an employer, make sure you nurture their status. How do you do that? Do not speak down to them. If you're giving them feedback, wag mo naman talagang lampasuhin yung pagbumukha nila kahit na anong pagkakamali nila. Tao lang po yan. So, honor their status. C, certainty. Give them certainty. Past 2 years, 2020, 2021, ang daming uncertain. Kailan tayo babalik sa opisina? Your employees look up to you for certainty. So if they ask questions that you cannot give a certain answer, tell them, I don't know the answer, but I will certainly get back to you. A is autonomy, the ability to do your own thing. Choices. Application po, managers, huwag niyong ima-micromanage yung team nyo. Bigyan niyo sila ng pagkakataon para dumiskarte. You are there to guide them, not to do their work for them. R is relatedness. Yung pong Coach Rona, can you put Maslow's first slide, Maslow's triangle? Meron pong popular na paniniwala which was actually way back in 1950s, yung pong Maslow's theory of hierarchy. Yung pong bottom niya of the pyramid is physiological needs. Sabi po ni Maslow, lahat po ng ating ginagawa sa buhay ay sequential. Uunahin natin yung physiological, pagkain, safety, which is health, social and belonging, which is affection, esteem, and self-actualization. Kaya pag katulad nila Elon Musk, pag lahat ng pangangailangan mo, check na, self-actualization na, punta na tayo sa moon, mag-SpaceX na tayo, mga ganon. Ang challenge dyan is with advances in neuroimaging of the brain, nakita po nila that the brain treats physical pain, level 1 kay physiological pain, in exactly the same manner it treats social pain, level 3. So imbis po na level 1 is different from level 3, according to technology and neuroscience, they're one and the same. Kaya ako, Mentor Tina, you were talking about heartaches, breakups. And I do this when I speak about the neuroscience of romance during Valentine's season. Pag kayo po ay magulang and you're comforting a teenage daughter or son na nagkaroon ng breakup, give them paracetamol. I say again, bigyan niyo po ng paracetamol because a social breakup, romantic breakup has an emotional pain and a physical pain. Yung emotional pain mas mahirap i-manage eh. Tulad na sinasabi ko, I would say kay Coach Rona, Coach Rona, buti nag-break up kayo ni Tom Cruise. Hindi naman kayo bagay ni Tom Cruise eh. Si Mang Tom nagbebenta ng balot sa kalsada, Coach Alan. Hindi po yun si Tom Cruise na alam natin. So anyway, si Mang Tomas. So you can actually cure the physical pain. Meron tayong kinalakihan na kasabihan, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Hindi po totoo yun.
Hindi.
Pag sinabi po nung tatay ko sa akin, katulad ka ng nanay mo, you will amount to nothing. Sabi ng nanay ko sa akin, katulad ka ng tatay mo, you will amount to nothing. Puti na lang nag-negate, kaya zero. Pero people who are pinagsabihan ng ganon, they carry that until they die. Ang hirap pong i-reverse. Kaya yung pong relatedness sa R, sa scarf, relate with them. Make them feel like family. And F is fairness. So, friends, after this, we'll open up for Q&A. Yung tanong nila, Ai at Dennis, is very true. Meron po tinatawag na Great Resignation, Mentor Tina, no, na very popular yan sa internet ngayon. Nagawa nung people dying because of COVID, people now globally are reassessing their life values. People are resigning and willing to take half salary cuts to pursue their passions. Now, if you give them an environment that nurtures their scarf, that nurtures their S, status, C, certainty, A, autonomy, R, relatedness, and F, fairness, yung kanilang stress mechanism mahuhupa. Whereas baliktarin natin, pag pindutin mo isa sa scarf, example, Coach Alan, road rage, nagmamaneho ka sa EDSA, may nag-cut sa lane mo. Kailangan mo ba kung sino ko, yung parang status mo na ano. Hindi nga kilala at interest sa lamin mo, Coach Alan eh. So, nagagalit tayo. That's why nagkakaroon ng road rage sa kakabarilan. Dahil lang kinatan ka sa traffic.
No.
Eh sa traffic naman natin, 10 miles per hour ka per day. Wala ka naman pupuntahan eh. So yun po example. So again, take home natin, our brain determines who we are. Our brain determines how we act and think. Yet most people know more about how their phones work than how their brains work. So I'm very grateful for programs and movements like Philippine HR Cafe. Coach Darwin Rivers, happy birthday to you and to your team for bringing about this community uplifting, upskilling forum, because we really need to learn more. And with advances in technology, we're learning more about how the brain works. So with that, I hope that we're able to at least address a question that was prevalent in the comments. Ang dami yung comment, ang dami nagtatanong sa inyo, ang dami nanonood. I congratulate Mentor Tina, Coach Alan, Coach Rona, and Coach Darwin for your show. Back to you.
Sir Ben, idagdag ko lang ha, kasi di ba nabanggit mo na yung emotional pain, nagkakaroon niya ng parang physical manifestation, and yung emotional pain, pag naramdaman mo siya, parang physical pain din siya. I-relate ko lang kasi if I remember correctly, there was a study done a few years ago about yung tinatawag nilang broken heart syndrome. na posible kang mamatay talaga dahil lang sa broken heart. And it's a physical manifestation of the pain that you are feeling. Kasi I think what most people do not understand with our brain is that yung emotions natin, the physical things that we do, the physical aspects that we have, they all come from the same center, which is our brain. At
Mm.
kung kunwari broken-hearted ka, your brain tries to, cope up with it, yung sakit na nararamdaman natin by, let's say, producing a lot of adrenaline or producing any type of hormone para ma-counter niya yung nararamdaman natin sa sakit. And in some aspect, eto, nagkakaroon talaga siya ng physical manifestation. So yun yung isa sa mga dapat nating tandaan with how our mind works. Na yung iniisip natin, yung nararamdaman natin, yung sakit na nararamdaman ng mga empleyado ninyo, it would have a physical manifestation. Which is why itong Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a time for quite some time, yun nga yung sinabi ni Sir Ben, na disprove na ito, na hindi siya actually magkahiwalay, magkasama sila, yung mas maiksi na to, mas konti na lang sila ngayon eh. May mga aspects kasi dito na magkasama na, and hindi rin sa lahat ng pagkakataon na kailangan mo magsimula sa physiological. May mga ganun eh. May mga tao na hindi, actually, yung hierarchy of needs nila ay hindi nagsisimula sa physiological. Nagsisimula siya sa ibang parte. May
Yung mga
ganun.
taong in love yata doon nagsisimula sa social belonging, no? Kasi sabi nga no, isang ali sa taga Cebu, di baling saging ang kinakain basta loving, di ba? So
Pakiulit, notes ko yun. Coach Alan, isusulat ko yun.
di baling saging basta loving. Kasi puro saging ang kinakain nila araw-araw, wala silang pambili ng mga masarap na pagkain, pero yung mag-asawa always loving. Kaya yung sinasabi mo, pwede nag-start muna sa sense of belonging eh. Kain-laban muna bago inisip kung in love na in love tayo pero kain naman tayo. Kasi yung walang pera, di labing na lang muna, saging-saging lang muna, wag naman na mahal.
Mentor Tina, Coach Alan, you might be able to, ito po ay ayon sa kwento. Kung natatanda niyo po si Jody Mango, yung pong dati na may love show. Kung kayo po may
Yes.
problema, manood na rin kayo ng HR Cafe. Hindi lang po ito pang trabaho, pang puso pa. So tama yan, Coach Rona, Coach Alan, Mentor Tina. I just like to also let you try this. Mentor Tina, Coach Alan, Coach Rona, work with me. And lahat po ng mga nanonood, everybody raise your hands over your head. Raise your hands over your head. Mentor
Ganun ba?
Tina, raise your hands over your head. Coach Alan, raise your hands over your head. Na actually, hindi niyo ako kita kasi if you know, nakita niyo po, I'm actually raising my hands in front of me.
Okay.
Thank you very much. When I do this in a live face-to-face demonstration, sa mga top executives po to, sa mga bossing natin, lahat po sila nakaganon. Whereas the language was raise your hands over your heads. They will follow what I say even though the words are very clear. Meron po yung scientific, ang tawag po dyan, illusion of transparency. Kaya yung pong communications natin, magaling sa English ang Pilipino eh. Kaya tayo very high in the BPO hierarchy of global providers. Pero kahit na simpleng English, raise your hands in front of you, nagkaka-miscom pa rin. So we will forever be in that realm, and we just have to really get to know more ourselves, how we behave. If we know how our brains function, we will be able to manage ourselves and manage our colleagues, manage our barkadas, and manage our teams. Marami pong resources sa internet about neuroscience. And if you need help, you can just reach out to HR Cafe and they would be more than happy to come up with a learning event for you. Back to you, Mentor Tina.
We'd like to open up the forum and the chat box for questions, but let's also start. Kasi diba, sir, we've talked about status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. And I think your main message is a lot of people think that employees are only happy in their work because of usually compensation, rewards, benefits, meron ka ng transportation allowance, communication allowance, HMO, and yet even the largest companies with sangkatutak na benefits, malaki pa rin yung attrition rate nila. And I think it goes back to your original point of Scarf because if a company or a boss, even in your own household, you might hire people as well. You implement SCARF. You give your people autonomy, status, certainty, relatedness, and fairness, and you're dealing with them. Usually, ang mga tao, hindi sila umaalis sa'yo. Kaya minsan, di ba, meron, di ba, a lot of us are employers. We have people that we hire at home, mga drivers, may kasambahay. May mga tao, hirap na hirap maghanap ng kasambahay kasi laging iniiwanan. I have a feeling kasi that it has to do with SCARF, right? And so I'd like to talk more about that on how to apply it to the companies. Okay. Sir Ben, paano po yung status? Kasi usually, 'di ba, in Philippines, we have what you call rank and file, mid-level managers, high executives. Let's talk about status. How do we implement status in Filipino companies? How do we give employee status? Lalong-lalo na pag trainee pa lang sila or bago, probationary employee, so that they can have that heart and passion for their company. Let's ask Ben and then Coach Alan.
That's a very insightful question. Napapansin ko talaga dating and brokenness ang ating topic. Kaya meron po tayo next show coming next year. HR Love Cafe. Pero you're very correct, Mentor Tina. The challenge is our conscious brain only has 5 languages, which are our 5 senses. And it has the 6, which is self-talk. All of us now, the 4 of us and all our viewers are experiencing us. They know they're alive because of 5 senses: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling. So, yung 5 senses yan are objective. Unless you're colorblind, red is red, blue is blue. Pero yung 6 self-talk, the meaning you put into those 5 senses are variable. All of us are a product of our own experiences. So yung 5 senses natin, we may all experience the same 5 senses, and I would put a negative meaning because of ano yung nakagawian ko. Example, people are born with 2 fears: fear of loud noises and fear of falling. So yung mga infants, pag hinahagis nyo po, saluhin nyo. Pag mahulog yun, traumatized yan. And fear of loud noises, huwag kayo magpapaputok sa kanila. Pero when they grow up, they would pay money in order to bungee jump. Nawala na yung fear of falling. And they will watch concerts na napakaingay. Nawala na yung fear of loud noises. Alam niyo po yung natitira lang na fear, negativity. Meron tayong negativity bias. Pag meron tayong ginawa na 10 good things, pero meron tayong ginawang 1 mistake today, bago tayo matulog, ano ang ating tatandaan? 1 bad thing. Ano yung applications yan? When we give feedback, meron tayong sinasabi na praise sandwich. I will give feedback to Coach Alan. 10 praise, Coach Alan, blah, 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 blah. Pero, tapos 10 blah, 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 blah. So, 10 plus, 1 negative, 10 plus. Because of the negativity bias, Coach Alan will only look at the 1 negative. That's why the praise sandwich approach has been disproven in neuroscience. Ang gusto sabi nila, kaya yung pag meron kang kinakausap na employee, rank and file, Mentor Tina, pag meron kang feedback, hinihintay na nila yung but eh. Okay, but ayun na yun. Saksak na sa puso yun. So it's better to tell them the bad thing. Coach Alan, you are much too detailed in your report. I only ask, san tayo, ano ba ang color ng ating team uniform sa Christmas party, blue or red? Bakit meron kang 26 annexes pag sinama? Study about the color profile of Timbuktu, yung mga ganon. So just focus on the constructive criticism. No plus, yun lang. And then when you're supposed to compliment the person, focus on that. Huwag nyo na po siyang ibabundle. That way, they get to, wala na silang inisip na but. So going to your question, Mentor Tina, basically just treat them like human beings. Sabi nga natin, we are human beings, not human doings. Because if we were a human doing, we are defined by our calling card, our business card, our rank, our title. If we are human beings, just the fact that you're alive makes you valuable.
Yeah.
Coach Rona, sulat mo yun. Lagay mo sa Valentine's card sa ano mo yung next. Just because you're alive makes you valuable, but I prefer cash. Di ba? Ganun yun. So, treat them like human beings. When we die, or kaya when you retire and you stop working, does that mean your value decreases? Sabi nga ni Mentor Tina, as we age, we actually have more to offer to the world because of our maturity. So that is a simplistic answer, but it is so hard to specify because we represent mag-8 billion na pong population ng mundo this 2 months from now. And the Philippines is one in the top 10 contributors to that 8 billion population count. Number one po ang Pakistan at India. But anyway, the point being, we have 8 billion experiences. So even if we give them the same 5 senses, we will have 8 billion self-talks. Pero if I make a genuine and authentic effort to treat my direct reports as people, pag magkamali sila, it's just a mistake. It doesn't make them a lesser human being. Then they are more motivated to give their work. And in closing, Coach Mentor Tina, sa Amerika, pag pumatak ang 5 o'clock, uwian. So if you were engaged or when you are contracted to lay the carpet, yung Coach Alan yung maglilay ng carpet, pupukpukin yung carpet, isang pukpuk na lang, laid out yung carpet, ops, alauna na eh. Babalikan yung last nail bukas. Ganun ang typical American worker, not so the Filipino worker. They will go 5:30 para matapos. Kaya we as a nation, we should be proud of who we are. Kilala tayo sa pagmamalasakit. So unlike yung iba 5 o'clock, konting ganun na lang, tapos na, pampapabukas pa. The Filipino worker, we are world class. So to your question, Mentor Tina, if you want to just preserve their status, treat them like humans. Don't treat them like assets. Don't treat them like job numbers or work titles. Just treat them like human beings. And you will be surprised. Ang panukli sa inyo tenfold. Back to you.
Coach
Coach
Alan?
Yung kanina, yun, ako yata nagsimula kung bakit naging romantic yung slang ng atin. When you make your employees fall in love with the company, actually napulot ko lang din yan in one of our speakers before. When you make your employees fall in love with your company, they will have second thoughts of leaving you. Na-define yung bagay na yun doon sa scarf eh. You can make them fall in love by respecting their status, making them feel certainty of their job, giving them autonomy in doing their job, making sure that you have a wonderful relationship with them, and you practice fairness. Now, maaaring sabihin na iba, hindi kaya umabuso yung empleyado niyan? Masyadong bini-baby? Hindi siguro kasi when you treat people with scarf, mararamdaman niyang meron siyang talagang tawag na dignity. Hindi lang siya cog in a machine or hindi lamang siya hired hand or hired brain, kundi sabi nga ni Sir, he's a human being with emotions, with intelligence, and with dignity that has to be respected. So pag naramdaman niya yun na siya din ay importante sa kumpanya, yung self-talk niya will become positive too. And that will improve his self-esteem, his self-pride, and that will surely make the person feel in love with the company, with the employer. At hindi na ako alis dito. I know a lot of companies, Filipino-owned, hindi ganun kalaki ang sweldo, pero pumasok sila sa minimum wage. May kalaban nila, mas mataas ang sweldo. Pero bakit nag-aalisan yung mga tao sa matataas ang sweldo? Compared to this minimum wage lang. Ito po, doon sa minimum wage na magpasweldo, umaabot pa yung mga tao doon as loyal as mga 10 years or more. Ayaw nilang umalis. Mga taman yung sweldo, pero yung mga bagong pasok, talagang minimum, no? Doon sa kabila, start nila above industry agad. Pero bakit ang doesn't turnover? Nasa pagturing. It's the relatedness. So, yung doon kasi sa mataas ang sweldo, minumura sila. Literal na minumura ng PI.
Bawal yun Bawal.
Bawal. Ay, nauso
Pero
kaya
bawal
yan.
yun, oh.
Oh, anyway, dito sa kabila, nirerespeto. Yung may-ari ng kumpanya, kasaway pa nila mag mag-lunch, naglilibre pa ng ulam, 'di ba? Balita bagay, ulam lang, pero nararamdaman nilang malasakit. And every time na merong may sakit sa pamilya, nandoon yun, nakikirama yung may-ari. Sa kabila, wala, hindi ka makaramdam ng ganito pagturing. Meron din sila motivational program. Ang kaibahan, doon sa kabila, mechanical. Lahat naka-procedural na eh. Oh, may birthday si ganito. Ipadala mo tong Form A na birthday greetings natin. Tapos may naka-attach na post-it note. Send this to this guy. Visit yung guy na yan eh. Ganun, parang parang ano lang eh, parang practice lang, wala talaga emosyon. Sinabi yung nga sir, sa neuromarketing, there should be emotions. Ganon din sa HR eh. Huwag nating ituring yung trabaho natin na procedural lang, transactional lang. We have to be transformative in our approach. Lagyan mo ng emosyon, hindi lang yung pakipag-usap, even in your memorandum, no? Yung iba, attention, it's a must, blah, blah, blah. Napakatigas, napaka-diktador. Baka konting hinahon naman at lagyan natin ng konting giliw at konting lambing. Maraming paraan para gawin. Yun po.
So the
ang
way
tingin.
I read
Magdadagdag
it,
ako, Coach Mentor Tina, para lang matanda nila, tama si Coach Alan. Yung iba kasi yung paggawa ng motivational environment, mechanical, mas maganda kung may kanin. Hindi
Mechanic.
mechanical. Yung talaga nakakabusog sa kanila. Back to you. Sorry to interrupt, Mentor
yeah.
Tina.
The way I listen to both of you is that status is in treating everybody else in and out of your company with respect. Kasi the traditional way of looking at leadership, palagi is about a boss. That's why a lot of people want to be bosses because they believe pag ako may sarili akong kumpanya, wala nang uutos sa akin. Ako na ang mag-uutos sa lahat. Everybody will follow my command. Diba? That's usually one of the biggest motivation of being an entrepreneur. Nobody will order you around. Because when you're in corporate, lagi may boss ka sa taas mo. And the experience of most people is that the boss didn't treat them very well. Kaya nga, naging gusto mag-entrepreneur. Kaya ayaw na sa corporate eh. So the most important, but that's a fallacy. Rona, alam mo to. Pag ikaw ay boss ng isang kumpanya, totoo lang ikaw yung nagiging, sorry to say, tuta ng lahat ng empleyado mo. Lahat ng gusto nila, reklamo nila, if they're having problems at work, at the family, ikaw yung makikinig sa kanila. I think it's a way for people to encourage them to go to entrepreneurship, but it's not true that when you are a boss, everybody follows you. Like you are the king or queen of your company. Instead, a real boss, in practicality and actuality, ikaw talaga yung susunod at makikinig sa mga empleyado mo. Because once your people stop working, they don't like to work for you anymore. They might be coming to work. Pero pag kunyari may restaurant ka, baka kung anong dinalagay sa kape. Kung kunyari nag-work ka as a consultant as what Aprash is doing, di ba, Rona? Hindi mo alam pag in-assign mo doon sa ibang company para mag-serve ng customer, hindi mo alam baka nagre-recruit sila ng customer para magbukas sila ng sarili ng consultancy. If you have another company, for example, like in retail, hindi mo alam na gumagawa na pa sila ng problema sa loob ng operations mo para lahat ng tao mag-welga against you. You have to be very careful because it doesn't mean a person's coming into work. They're really working for you and for the good of the company. But one way to do that is to treat people with respect. And it's not just people who it's a habit Treating people with respect is a habit and it's something that keeps on giving. Sa Pilipinas bawal mayabang. Oh, totoo lang. A lot of people get into a big trouble kasi mayabang ka. Yung kilala mo ba kung sino ako? Filipinos are very forgiving people. Huwag ka lang masyadong magyabang. So, back to what you were saying is, you have to treat people with respect and you have to be very careful na the choice of words that you use when you're talking to other people. Because sometimes we do not know we're already hurting others when we're talking to them. For example, pag nalilate sa trabaho, di ba? Sabihin mo, anong oras ka na nakarating? Kunyari, 9:30. Eh kung alam mo, kung kunyari mas maaga ka lang magising sa umaga, hindi ka malalate.
Hmm.
Sometimes, okay, for us, it's logical. If you wake up earlier, you won't be late. But you have to also understand, anong kinalaman sa pagising ng umaga sa pagiging late? Why not just say, alam mo, I know you can be on time. Kasi everybody else is on time eh. So, I would appreciate tomorrow, just be on time. Wag na tayong magdagdag hirit. Because sometimes na-assert tayo as managers eh. Naku, tong tao na to, ilang beses ko nang sinabi sa kanya yung instruction, hindi pa niya magets. Or nakasulat na nga sa code of conduct, hindi pa nagbabasa. Ang next word ng iniisip natin, totoo lang, grabe, ang bobo-bobo talaga ng taong to. We have to remove that mindset eh. It's true. It's really true. We have to remove that mindset because who is the stupider one? The employee whom you hire or the person who hired the employee?
Hmm.
'Di ba? So you have to change that and remove the negativity because the fact that the employee got into your company is already a representative on how brilliant everybody in the company is. Because birds who flock, who are, di ba? Birds of the same feather, they flock together eh. It's not good to criticize the weakest link in your company because they are still your employee. Instead, you try your best to motivate them, to guide them to be on par of the standard of everybody else. Pero be careful with your words. Don't say na parang tamad-tamad mo naman. Or dapat alam mo na yan eh, di ba? Ang tagal mo na magtrabaho sa company na to. Or dapat pinabayaran ka kaya dapat magtrabaho ka. These words are very demotivational. Instead, you have to tell them, but ayaw mo na lang sabihin, do it this way. Kaya mo yan. Or, write it in this manner. Can you do it? Ganun lang. And then, tigil na. Huwag ka nang humirit ng dagdag hirit kasi tayo kasi minsan naaasar ka. Nagdadagdag pa tayo ng hirit and it's actually not the action that we want to correct that hurts the employee, but how we communicate that nagmumukha tuloy tayong namamersonal because we just want to correct the action, the behavior. We don't want to create enemies inside the organization. Because once you do so, hindi mo talaga alam kung paanong balik eh. With that, I'd like to talk about C, certainty. And how do you, di ba, we've come out from COVID. A lot of us have fears throughout the pandemic, new political administration, the inflation, and all the stuff that we hear in social media. How do you guys, lalo na mga business entrepreneurs like Rona, how do you create certainty when sometimes, sa totoo lang, pagdating mo sa bahay, you yourself is also uncertain? No, diba? Kasi minsan natatakot tayo, nasa-stress ka, pero hindi mo pa pwedeng ipakita din na uncertain na, alam mo, baka bukas wala na akong pang-sahod sa inyo. Baka mamaya lahat ng tao mag-apply na sa iba eh. How do you create certainty when sometimes you feel uncertain with the things that's going on around you? Rona? Nawala si Rona. Or Ben, ikaw muna.
Basically, you're correct. One way to do it is to communicate that you yourself are uncertain. Kasi ang Pilipino can see through you. Eh. Like for
Mm,
example, when will the COVID end? We are now having a resurgence of COVID in Japan, in
mm,
China, with the latest variant. Just say, actually, nobody knows for sure. But rest assured, once we know, we will tell you. And also, we are making contingency plans. They just want to be certain of something. So there are two extremes. Number one is reassure them with certainty that they can see through is a lie, in which case you lose all credibility with them.
so don't lie.
Don't lie that they can see through. You must be a good liar, in other words. No one is sure anyway, for sure. Um, Last night, there were news about the heat waves in Europe. Now,
Mm,
if you go to Europe this time of year, it's malamig. How come we're now experiencing heat waves? So a lot of the things globally are uncertain. But what is your employee or what is your best friend or what is your spouse looking for? Just the certainty that you will be there for him or her.
mm,
They don't expect you to be Madame Oring to be a crystal ball reader. And even if you're able to read tomorrow, there's next week anyway, which can be uncertain. So just be authentically certain that they can feel certain that you'll be there for them. And reassure them of that certainty that walang iwanan tayo dito together. So when we'll
Mm.
go with the end, I don't know, Coach Alan. But one thing I can tell you, I will not abandon this company. I will not close shop.
Mm.
I will invest my retained earnings from the past years to keep this company alive. We will see through this together. When? I don't know. But I assure you, I will stay with you.
Yun.
Rona?
Parang wala na ako idadagdag sa sinabi ni Sir Ben. Kasi pag sinabi naman natin akala nung iba, pag sinabing certainty, dapat may solution ka, meron ka ng end goal, alam mo lahat ng mangyayari. No, hindi mo alam lahat ng mangyayari. Pero tulad nga nung sabi ni Sir Ben, one thing is for sure, I will be here. And that is what employees are looking for. Na meron silang masasandalan in case all hell breaks loose. Hindi nila kailangan, and ito madalas ko to sinasabi, yung mga tao, mga empleyado na nagtatanong, may inquiry sila, hindi nila kailangan nung specific na sagot, lalo na kung wala ka naman talagang mabibigay. Ang kailangan nila is the assurance na hindi mo sila pinapabayaan. Yun ang gusto nilang marinig, na you are hearing them, you are seeing them, you understand where they are coming from. That's the certainty that they are looking for.
We have
Coach Alan,
questions?
ay sorry. Go lang.
Go, Coach Alan.
Certainty. Alam mo, I totally agree with what Sir Ben mentioned, no? Yung sabi niya, kailangan maramdaman ng mga tao na ikaw mismo ay matibay. At kasi may tinatawag na naghahanap yung mga tao ng paghuhugutan eh. And they should be able to see that in you as the leader. Na hindi ka nagpapanik, wala silang makitang trace of anxiety in your face because andun hindi lang yung confidence, kundi andun yung itong tao to, very calm. Sabi nga nila, amidst crisis, if you can master calmness and show calmness, that is a very contagious attitude that will positively infect your people. No? So, alam mo, deep inside, ikaw rin mismo natatakot na, nangangamba dahil hindi ka sigurado eh. Pero if they can see calmness in your face, nakakangiti pa rin si Sir, nakakapag-joke, nagiging functional pa rin despite what's happening. Na-inspire sila eh. At na-energize. I think that's neuroscience, no? You can easily infect them with the things that they see in you. So kung ano man yung makitang reaction mo, leader nga, di ba? Follow the leader. They will surely get infected. They will surely just copy the attitude that they see in their leaders. Yan po yung tingin ko dyan.
All leaders get stressed. Everyone gets anxious and stressed. Okay? But we have to, even ako, diba, lalo na pag I have a very important thing to do the next day, I get stressed. But I always remind myself, getting stressed does not solve your problem. The longer that you stress over the problem, sana, diba, parang the more that we think about it and stress about it and spend a lot of time with it, the more it will get solved eh. Pero the problem kasi, pag natulog ka, nagising ka, after a night of stress and depression or self-uncertainty, nandun pa rin yung problema mo. Hindi nabawasan. So, that's one thing to remind ourselves. It's okay to be stressed. It's okay to be afraid, to be sad, to be happy, to be disappointed. But you have to understand, it doesn't remove the issues on hand. Iba ang emotion, iba yung, okay, fine, tapos na akong umiyak. I'm gonna retrench people. I'm gonna make a difficult decision. Okay, tapos na. Feel bad about it. Don't say no to the emotion, but the next day, do something about it and maybe soften your approach a bit. Because people want to follow a leader who can be their pillar during a time of uncertainty.
True.
Kasi di ba parang may captain ka, gusto mo kunyari mag-aeroplano ka, Tapos, sasabihin ng pilot, good morning afterwards. This turbulence is something I've never seen before. I'm really anxious. I don't know what to do, but let's pray.
Yeah.
Like you
Please
don't
bring
want
out
to
your rosary and let's all together pray.
you don't want to ride a ship or a plane or work for a company na palagi, today parang I'm really afraid. Baka bukas wala na akong payroll. Pero don't worry, we're in this together. You have to remind yourself of that. You can still be certain in times of uncertainty. Just as what Sir Ben has said, focus on the truth. Don't ever be caught in a lie. And then be honest on the things that you are uncertain about. But guide people on what is certain. Kasi in a situation, meron kang ring things that you can hold on to, which are the facts, the situation. We are in a pandemic. The government has issued a lockdown. The entire Luzon from March 16, 2020 cannot go out. You will stay at home. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I can assure you is on the next 2 payroll periods, you will be fed.
Mm.
Uncertain with some certainty. You can say that, but I'm not sure afterwards, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. Dalawang payroll period ng bakasyon right? That's one tip to do it. We have a question. We have actually a good feedback dito kay Sir Dennis. The business relationship between the employer and the employee is defined in the business contract. The personal relationship between the two transcends beyond the employment contract. The more the manager knows his subordinate in terms of likes, weaknesses, personal values, cultural identities, and manager same, the more the relationship would last. Essence of psychological contract of motivation. With that, I will add a question. How much information do leaders need to know? Kasi minsan when you talk to employees, lalo na sa Pilipinas, how are you? Sir, I have family problem. If you ask, anong family problem yan? Minsan, ang balik naman sa kwento na isang oras.
Yung
Ano yung
anak kong
family
dalaga na
problem
buntis.
niya, yung pamilya niya, yung whatever, yung spouse niya. Where do you as a leader in the Philippines, where do you draw the line of too much information or too little information on getting to know your employees? Rona, do you have ano?
Sige, mauuna na ako. Sa akin kasi, if it's something that I can help resolve, pwede kong anuhin yan. Pero pag nakikita ko na this is something that you should resolve on your own first, before mo ibigay sa ibang problema, then ika-cut short na kita pa nag-share ka sa akin. Sasabihin ko na kagad na, and this is coming from, you have to understand yung context ko as a person. Kasi ako yung tipo ng tao na if there's too much emotion, ayoko, nag-aano kagad ako dyan, nagpo-push back kagad ako. Kasi if there's too much emotion, ang tendency mo is to give the burden to someone else. And I don't want my team to do that as a recourse. First recourse nila is to unburden it to somebody else and get somebody else to help them. I understand where you're coming from, but this is something that you have to resolve on your own. So talk to me when you are no longer emotionally ridden. I understand your emotions. It's perfectly fine that you have that emotion, but process that first, then we'll talk. Kasi pag nandun ka na sa point na ilabas mo na lahat yung emotions at nandun ka na sa kaya mo nang tignan yung situation objectively, then we can check kung ano matutulong ko at ano ang pwede mong gawin. So usually ganun ako. But people, bago po kayo magsabi na, dapat ganito, that's because my personality is built like that. We are different individuals. The way you see situations might not be in the same manner as I see my situation. And that is also perfectly fine if it's something that works for you. But for me, that's what works for me. Na pag emotions, ayoko nung masyadong emotions, i-deal mo muna yan, then we'll talk later. Ganun ako.
carrying on that question as well, 'di ba sabi nga ni Sir Dennis is you have to get to know the strengths and weaknesses of the person because the person might have some preference. So for example, if you're an extrovert, you might want to present. If you're an introvert, you might want to be surrounded just by the computer or like in a very controlled environment. But as a leader, sometimes you might want to challenge people to be more to go out of their comfort zone. 'Di ba? Like for example, if a person's not very nakaharap in front of the what do you call it, yung mga shareholders. You also want sometimes na yung taong pinakatahimik, pinakamabait ma-promote din, 'di ba? So you want to increase your exposure doon sa mga shareholders. Pero minsan kasi the person itself is not very comfortable with that. So Sir Ben and Sir Alan, how do you challenge your employees that you know ganito siya? Pero yung siyempre may gusto kang malalo silang mag-enhance ng skills nila, lalong silang gusto mag-enhance yung exposure nila. How can a leader guide the people to get out of their comfort zone without being pushy?
Si Sir Ben
Coach
muna.
Ben.
Iniintay ko sa akin, yes or no question lang eh. Yes or no na binibigay ni Mentor Tina eh. Pero basically, to put balance in the equation, it's HR Cafe. We should not lose sight of the fact that it is an employer-employee relationship. If all of us and our listeners know for a fact na tomorrow we won may nanalo na ng 400 million lotto.
Uy.
Akala ko ako hinahantay ng lotong yun eh.
Hindi, magloloto ng goto yun. Ibang loto yun. But if we don't have any more needs for money, if you have an important meeting tomorrow, Mentor Tina, and you know 12 midnight tonight, all of your monetary needs are safe. You and your next of kin. Safe. Hindi tatalbog na cheque. What is the first thing that you will do when you wake up? I will say, sir, I love you, but you have to learn to do without me starting now.
Okay.
People only go to work because of money. And it's a fact. It's nothing bad. If I have the most the best work environment and I don't pay salaries, I don't expect people to come. I am not blind to the fact now they will come work for me or they will come work with me because there's a transactional relationship. Google, which is very known for the best place to work, yung bawat cuisine, libre yung pagkain, buffet, merong sleeping pods, may ping pong tables. Their problem was, Mentor Tina, they were spending millions, even billions of dollars for employee
Comfort.
benefits. And yet the usage utilization rate was only 30%. That's Google, and that is a documented thing. So if Google is offering the works, kami ni Coach Alan, ano lang, isaw lang pwede na. Ito isaw, only steak, prime rib, whatever. And people are only using it 30%. Wow. So sayang, dapat tayo lang, di ba? Gargle pa tayo, Coach Alan. But the point is, we shouldn't lose sight of the employee-employee relationship. Do not be so close to them that blurs, because that will give you more problems moving forward. Keep that. You are not their best friend. You are not their father. You are their boss. Now you just want to create an environment. It's a buzzword now of psychological safety, whereby they're not afraid to articulate their fears. Mentor Tina, your question about how do you encourage them to move beyond. Top Gun was a blockbuster. It is the biggest film of Tom Cruise. Coach Coach Rona, si Tom Cruise talaga, hindi yung Tom Cruise mo. Si Tom Cruise, the man, broke $1 billion
Yes.
globally. And then now we have Thor. Why do we relate with them? It's because they inspire, and inspire comes from the Latin word. Ins means into, fire is breathe. So if you inspire people, you breathe life into them. So in a gloomy global economy, you breathe life into them. So you cannot live life for them. So example, employee X, I see potential in you. I cannot live your life for you, but this can be your laboratory to whom your skill set on company time, on company resources. And I would just want you to be the best person you can be. I don't know how much time we have left, but I think all of us do our favorite exercise pre-COVID, but even now, although now kasi I meet people na QR code na yung calling card. We call the calling card a business card. When I meet
Mm.
people for the first time, you give it to them. And it's a business card, but it's also a calling card. Why don't you try writing at the back of it what your purpose in life is? Meaning limited yung space kasi it's only about 1.5 inches by two and a half. And I'd like to share my life calling. I am a student and teacher of simple truths that will enable people to live their best lives. So whatever is the flip side, whether it's Coach Ben, whether it's Chef Ben, or whatever, Entrepreneur Ben, flip side noon is I always want to use that as a vehicle to help people live their best lives. So that when I die, my legacy lives beyond me to the betterment of the world that met me many years ago. Leave the world a better place than when you first entered in. And if you are able to inspire, breathe life into people, to see possibilities into their life that their parents, their barcadas, their families do not see, and you're authentic, they will hang on to that. They'll hang on to that and they will take risk, go beyond their comfort zone.
Mm.
Ganda.
Coach Alan?
Pick upin ko yung sinabi ni Sir Ben, ano, yung inspire people to be the best version of themselves, kumbaga, ano. Um, LMD kasi ang aking orientation, learning and development, and I'm using OD as a vehicle uh, para lalong ma-harness yung inner potentials ng mga tao. And through our interventions, we should be able to um, inspire kasi transformative yung approach, no? Inspire people to go beyond who they are and what they believe they are right now. That they can go beyond it and become someone else using the opportunities that we provide in the company. Kaya meron tayong mga training and development, no? Development eh. Hindi lang training, kundi development. We are preparing them for their future career or for the next level job. And we are offering courses and opportunities that will um, make them feel the need for evolving themselves. No, there are a lot of challenges in the corporate life. Doon nila mararamdaman yung need eh. Kaya kung meron silang mararamdamang stress, problema, we can just say it's part of corporate life. And it's a call for you to elevate or level up your current condition, your current skills and competencies. At
Mm.
maswerte po tayong lahat and let's be grateful because we have a company that nurtures our development. And napakarami natin training and napakaraming opportunities dito that you will be able to move up eventually. Somebody asked me in one of the recently I gave a talk about the power of gratitude intelligence in the workplace. Yung nagtanong, ano pong masasabi ninyo? Sabi niya, how can we leaders create that culture of gratitude if we ourselves are not happy with the compensation and benefits that we're getting, di ba? So totoo nga naman, paano ka pagtuturo ng gratefulness sa opisina mo kung ikaw mismo mababa ang moral dahil feeling mo wala kang bagay na dapat pagpasalamat dahil imbis na tumaas yung sweldo nila sa level na yun, ano, nabawasan pa dahil um, ano sila, government agency. Nagkaroon ng pagbabago sa compensation and benefits. Pumasok yung pay grade ng mga nakatataas sa kanya, umangat. Yung pay grade nila bumaba. So, gano'n, no? So, yun ang tanong niya. Sabi ko, ganito lang, simple yan eh. There are two things in this world. Things that are within your control and things that are beyond your control. That aspect of your corporate life is beyond your control. No one of, any one of you, kahit sino pa, kahit executives niyo, hindi niyo pwedeng pakialaman yun dahil national government ang nag-decide yan eh. Now, what is within your control? What is within your control is your ability to learn further, develop further, because the opportunities are there.
Mm.
Sangkatutak ang training ninyo, and ang daming mga challenges that you can learn from, and there are a lot of opportunities to shine. Who knows? Siguro pag naging ano ka, na-overcome mo yung depression na yan, tapos you are become willing to undergo all of those development courses, you shine, gumandang performance appraisal mo, who knows, baka ikaw sunod na maispatan na ma-elevate, and now you belong to that pay grade na mataas. It may not happen now, but I'm sure it will happen. So, pakialaman mo yung those things that are within your control and be positive about it. Be grateful for what you have, and who knows? Law of attraction says gratitude will surely attract more and more blessings for you. Yun ko tinapos yung aking sagot dahil marami hindi naman mga 11% ang ganun ang feeling. So, to everybody out there who are also experiencing the same, wag ho nating masyadong sisihin yung external environment, mga boss natin, mga policy na beyond our control dahil hindi natin makuha yung gusto natin. Tingnan mo yung sarili mo, what can you do right now? Nagsimula tayo sa magandang quote yung tungkol sa reinventing yourself. That's neuroscience, no? So, there are still a lot of things that you can explore within yourself. Developing yourself is part of it, and eventually people will notice that, bosses will notice that, na ang galing-galing mo pala, and the blessings will come naturally. Yun lang pong tingin dyan. At napakatahimik, krik, 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 krik.
Biglang wala nagsalita, no? Ina-absorb pa, Sir Alan.
Nagda-note pa ako. Grateful kasi para mag-attract.
Rona, may si Anlet?
Yes, oo. Meron dito medyo mahaba. Basahin lang natin. Sabi niya, "Good afternoon, Sir Ben. This is in relation with your discussion earlier na our brain was trained sa dalawang response, pain and pleasure. You mentioned about Maslow's motivational model, which is the fulfillment of basic needs first before moving to other advanced needs. Kailangan mauna muna si employer magbigay kay employee ang basic needs through magandang employment or benefits package bago magpakita ng magandang job performance. Which one?" Sorry, medyo putol lang po. Ano ba yung nakalagay dito? Mentor Tina, kita mo ba yung dulo niya?
Wait ha. Parang sinasabi kasi na which one? Let me read Medyo mahaba nga. Wait. No, I can't see it.
Nakat din yung sa akin
Nakat yung comment niya.
Ang impression ko rito, anong dapat mauna? Si employer ba ang dapat gumawa ng first move o si employee ba dapat ang gagawa ng first move?
Ayan. So, actually, yun po yung yun yung thought, Sir Ben, nung kanyang question. Sino ba dapat ang mauna? Si employer ba or si employee?
Everything we do begins with a presupposition. It's just a heavy word, Coach Alan, pang Scrabble natin. Dati majung tayo, going Scrabble na tayo. Build your mind. Presupposition, people who ask questions, the way we talk, the way we interact with people we know and total strangers begin with presuppositions. If a total stranger is approaching me and my presupposition is he will rob me, wala pang nangyayari interaction, aalis na ako. So the presupposition of the question is I'm reading into it. Ang presupposition yata ni Annette, as far as I see it, is dapat mauna yung employer. Make the employee feel good, and then the employee will work better. Kasi sabi dito, sample, kailangan mauna muna si employer magbigay kay employee. That is a statement. Hindi siya kailangan ba munang magbigay. So, unless, my apologies if I'm misreading the presupposition, we must all presuppose that we need the other person more because that will put us in a state. A state is just the totality of our mindsets, the way we feel today, our belief systems. We will be in a state of forever reaching or constantly moving forward. Because if we come with a presupposition of I am, sabi mo nga kanina, Mentor Tina, world rescue me, external universe help me, feed me, you are obligated. We start with a presupposition of feeling entitled. Cancel niyo po yun. Paper o kaya sa inyong laptop monitor, snow-pick nyo na yun. The world does not owe you anything. Your life will rise and fall only to the extent that you take care of it. So yung last four characters sa English alphabet is W, X, Y, and Z. W, bakit W? Double U. Para for emphasis, ikaw at ikaw. W, X. X, destroy all of your presuppositions which do not work. Sabi nga ni Coach Rona kanina, definition ni Einstein na ayaw magpagupit. Insanity is using the same methods and expecting different results. W, it begins with you, it ends with you. X, cancel all those things that you have experienced not to work. Why? Sabi ni Simon Sinek, understand your biggest why. Why are you going to work? Why are you waking up in the morning? And Z, you will zoom. Parang pilit talaga ako, channel pasensya na, no? So, friends, practice W, X, Y, and Z this 2022. W, it's an emphasis of it's you and it's you, W. X, cancel everything that did not work in 2019, 2020, 2021. Do something new. Worst thing that can happen is you will learn another thing that fails. So you're one lesson ahead. Why? Know why you're waking up. Understand your purpose for living. You were created for a purpose. You are not an accident. And Z, you will zoom. And you will never be a zero.
Rona?
Ganda. XYZ.
Ang ganda ng ating naging discussion sa mga sandaling ito. Ngunit subalit data po, ilang minuto na lang at tayo po. Alas 5 na po. At kung meron pa po kayong questions po, pwede pa kayong humabol. Pero I think it's already time for last words po mula sa ating speaker for today. Sir Ben, meron pa po ba kayong mga parting words and how can they get in touch with you in case na kailangan po nila ng love doctor?
Love Doctor, just look up sa i-Google search yung si Mentor Tina, number 1 ranking siya ron. Next, second si Jody Mango, third si Madam Ring. Pero my vote is with Mentor Tina. First of all, Philippine HR Cafe, my deepest thanks. Meron pang ganun pa natin makabaya. My deepest thanks. Coach Darwin Rivers, happy birthday to you. Mentor Tina, Coach Alan, Coach Rona, thank you for the priceless joy and delight of being able to interact with you. Mga kapatid, madlang people, ngayon lang po kami nagkakita pero close na kami. Sabi lang nga ni Coach Rona, hindi siya makikinig. Mag-i-emote pa naman sana ako sa off-cam, Coach Rona, kaya lang headers. So in closing, if you do not mind your mind, you would not be able to manage your behavior. Mind your mind because your mind, your brain determines who you are. It's not your elbow, it's not your ears, it's not your stomach. Your mind determines who you are. And I would like to end with my last acronym po. PAW. Have a presupposition of possibilities. P, is it possible? So malalaman yung possible example kung meron na unang gumawa. Is it possible to land on the moon? Yes, Apollo 11, 1969. A, are you able? So if you want to land on the moon, do the things that will make you able to land on the moon. If you want to be a basketball player and you're only 4'11", pick another sport. Don't lose hope. And W, is it worthwhile? Not everything that you can do is worthwhile wasting and investing your time in. So po, parang okay po. If go for possibilities. If you want to do something, check if it's possible. Can you fly? No. Don't jump off the building. Can you put up a business like Mentor Tina suggested? Yes. How do you know ang daming nagtatayo ng gig ngayon? And they're becoming good and rich by it. P, is it possible? A, are you able? Kung kulang ka ng skills, accounting skills, marketing skills, production skills. Number one, follow Philippine HR Cafe. Every Sunday, free upskilling. Tapos if you have love problems, Mentor Tina. Pag gusto niyo mag-share, wag niyo pong bother si Coach Rona. And then W, just limit your time. Our time on earth is limited. Everything else is a bonus. Pursue those that are worthwhile. My purpose, and prayerfully we were able to do it in our laughter filled discussion, is to give hope to the people who are listening and to tell them that, guys, no matter how bad the evening is, the sun rises tomorrow morning. So in closing, Mentor Tina, Coach Alan, Coach Rona, Coach Darwin Rivers, and to everybody who joined us in this lively discussion, God loves you. And God has a wonderful plan for you. Never lose hope. Back to
I'd
you
like to
guys.
add the last words naman for me, then si Coach Alan, then after that, Rona will close. A lot of us always look at leaders na hindi ako. A lot of us say, we're not leaders, we're just followers. We're part of a group, we're part of a big organization, we're just one member of the family in our family. I think we need to have that mind shift that everybody can be a leader in their community. Kasi we always feel na parang we are hopeless, it's out of our control, wala tayong magagawa kasi my boss says this or my mother says this We're always following other people around. But what Sir Ben was saying is you can actually be a leader in your own community, in your own group of friends, in your own company, in your own department, even if you do not have the authority. And that is one, for example, what he said is you have to treat people with respect and fairness. You can be that pillar in your group. Kasi may mga tao talaga yung hindi mo maasahan. Yung laging nawawala or yung freeloader. You can be a leader by being a pillar in your family, in your group of friends, in your department, in your company. And you can also, by the way that we treat others with respect, helping them become their best selves, right? It's if you exercise such behavior, I would be very surprised if you're still rank and file after how many years. The world needs more leaders, but it's very difficult for us to be a leader when we're always blaming other leaders. Instead of blaming other leaders, why not just be the leader inside your group and make a difference with, with the people that you surround yourself with? Because it has nothing to do with gender, age, educational attainment, or even work experience. Maraming tao, 40 years na in a corporate experience. By due of tenure, ang taas na ng posisyon. And yet nobody respects him. Because ano lang siya, hollow sa loob. Yung bola pero sa loob walang laman. May mga tao naman, bata, 'di ba? Probably not in a very esteemed school. Doesn't matter, baka yung parents walang pera, not from a very privileged family. And yet a lot of people follow that person. And we always say, kasi mabola yan eh. Maybe. Maybe the person knows what to say. But we have to not blame and say na parang hindi kasi hindi naman ako yan eh. Hindi naman ako matamis ng salita eh. Instead of looking at the why can't we be that person, my challenge to you is why can't you be that person nga and actually claim that position of being a leader? Because you can. And if you have in an organization, 'di ba? may kasabihan yung CEO ng isang company, ang totoong boss, yung secretary. Kasi yung secretary yung nagma-manage ng schedule, yung kilala niya yung mood ng boss, alam niya kung kailan magpro-propose dapat. But that person is a secretary. But that secretary is very well compensated. Sometimes even higher yung salary niya versus yung mga VP. Because that person is in a position of power even without the title. For us to be happier with our lives, it might be better for us to be the leaders in our lives. Don't be a follower. Kasi ang hirap maging autonomous if isip mo, ang dami mong shareholders, ang dami mong bosses. Bosses mo yung asawa mo, yung anak mo, inuutusan ka, mother-in-law mo. You know, you're always a pushover. Change the way you think and actually be a boss and leader wherever you are. You can be that. And according to Sir Ben, yung sabi na nga niya yung status, you can be fair, you have autonomy, you have reliability. If you are like that, even how small you are, kasi may mga babae, maliit pero grabe ang tapang, lahat ng tao nakikinig. It's not because of fear, but it's because of leadership. And that's what Sir Ben is saying is leadership is democratic. It's not just to the few. It can be you can be the leader in your community if you learn how to do it, if you grab that opportunity, because you can be a leader by acting like a leader and treat people with respect, being that pillar of reliability, giving people the independence, but guiding them to do the right thing, treating everybody with fairness. And then guess what? Everybody will listen to you and you will be that boss. Even if you're not really a formal boss. Darating at darating talaga na magiging leader ka. And it's better sa akin it's better to be that leader than always a follower. Kasi lahat ng tao, bakit? Kasi if you are always the follower and you're always following everybody else, it's a very hopeless situation to be in because you have no control. So I encourage everybody to take back that control in their lives. Kasi it's not a powerful position because leaders are servants. But at least you know the direction you're moving towards. Hindi ka lang sumusunod sa kahit sino na nagsasabi, nag-uutos sa'yo. Okay? So that's my last words. Sir Alan, last words?
Sa last but not the least, hindi pa naman, meron si Ma'am Rona pa yung kasunod eh. LND pa rin ang aking point of view, ang frame of reference. Para sa akin, you can be a successful leader. Kasi yung title natin, no? The title of the program today, if I may recall,
Science
is
of true leadership.
to become a true leader, a good leader, to become a successful leader, using neuroscience. Palagi ko, it is still very important that we develop leaders out of our people. Hindi yung followers lang. If you're a leader and you're just treating your employees, your members as followers, then you have not done your job well. You can only be successful if you were able to duplicate, triplicate, multiplicate yourself among your people. You were able to bring out the best in them and they become leaders too in their job. Sabi nga ni Lao Tzu, si Tata Lao Tzu, ang dami magandang philosophy nito, ang gandang quote na gamitin. Sabi niya, good leadership consists of motivating people to their highest levels by offering opportunities, not obligations. That is how things happen naturally. Life is an opportunity, not an obligation. Ilan po.
Napaka direct to the point ng sinabi ni Sir Alan. Okay, last words ko, medyo mahaba-haba po ito pang graduation speech. Dahil marami akong na-pick up dun sa
Plagiarize
ating...
ka.
Oo, hindi naman
Ano
plagiarize.
yun?
Issue yan
Grabe,
ngayon.
naging issue ngayon. Grabe.
Oo.
Nakakatawa.
Pwede
Anyway.
sabihin ko, this is actually a sort of a summarization of everything that has been discussed. And the first thing that I want everyone to understand is that the mind is a powerful And a very interesting matter. Sabi natin kanina, di ba? Sabi ni Sir Ben kanina, mind your mind. Mind how you think. Be conscious about how you think, how you express what you think. Guided dapat yung thoughts. Kasi out of all of these thoughts, dun lumalabas yung, nabanggit na natin to dati, yung your thoughts become your actions become your character, etc., etc. You have to mind your mind. Now, here's the thing. The mind sees patterns. Okay? The mind is set up to see patterns and to see things that are out of pattern. Kailangan natin maintindihan yun. Kasi naalala niyo yung scarf model na binanggit kanina, the S, the situation, the status.
Status.
Yung status kasi, ibig sabihin noon is usually meron tayong, we compare ourselves to people around us. Yung status, how we relate to other people, mas mataas, mas mababa sa akin. And then how we see them, nag-iiba yung kung paano natin sila kausapin. And we have to be very careful with that. Madalas sinasabi sa Philippines HR Group, ito yung natatawa ko. May magpo-post, tapos sabihin ng mga nagko-comment, ay hindi ako ganyan na boss, hindi ako ganyan na HR, hindi ako ganyan na... Kung lahat tayo ay hindi ganon, bakit ang dami pa rin problema sa HR? Kasi in reality, unconsciously, how we talk changes based on who we are talking to or talking with. How you talk to your boss is different to how you talk with your subordinate. And sometimes, unconsciously, hindi natin napapansin na how we talk puts other people down or puts our own selves down. Tayo mismo ginababa natin sarili natin. Pagkausap mo yung boss mo, ang bait mo. Lahat tatanggapin mo kahit na hindi na makatarungan. And then afterwards, bigla kang tatalikod, yung boss ko, dami-daming pinapagawa sa akin. But in reality, you were the one who said yes. Okay? So you have to be careful with how your mind works. Okay? Lagi nating sinasabi yan. At higit sa lahat, ito pa isa yung madalas kong naririnig, alam ni Mentor Tina to na allergic ako dito, na yung sasabihin na, we have to take care of our employees, we have to give them everything, I have a client who literally gave everything, every single benefit that they can think of to their employees, and yet their attrition is very high. You know why? Babalik tayo sa sinabi ni Sir Ben, LC equals BP. Okay? Kasi you're giving them everything. And yung, sa Google din, di ba, 30% lang ng benefits ang nagagamit. Because you're giving them everything without really understanding the scarf, without understanding the individual triggers for motivation. The world does not owe you anything. Okay? As an employer, hindi kailangan na lahat todo ibigay mo. Okay? Kasi kailangan mo rin tignan yung business mo. At bilang empleyado, hindi mo rin pwedeng i-demand lahat. Bakit si company A may ganun? Bakit si company B may ganun? Bakit kayo wala? Sandali, hindi kami si company A, hindi kami si company B, kami si company C. And this is what we can offer. And if this is what we can offer, and you think it is the blueprint that you would want to have for your life, then we can establish a relationship. But if this is not the blueprint, then you might want to try someplace else. And employers, if people want to look at blueprints belonging to other companies, kung doon nila nakikita yung blueprint nila, doon sila magiging masaya, huwag kayong magalit. Okay? Don't take it against them. This is a transaction. If you cannot give it to them, then give them the opportunity to experience that with other companies.
Yun.
Okay? Kasi ang dalas yan yung mga employers, nag-resign. Magre-resign at magre-resign talaga yan kung hindi nyo mabibigay. Kaya mo bang ibigay? Hindi. Let go. Uy, meron ito. Okay sa kanya yung ganito. Tanggap niya na ito lang ang mabibigay niya. Take care of that employee. Pag dumating kayo sa point sa employee, hindi na ito yung nakakapagpasaya sa akin, let go. Let go with a happy heart. Give that space for somebody else naman, bago naman. Paano yun? Nagiging training ground kami. Good for you. That means you are able to teach people. Ang daming companies ang training ground. Accenture, SGV, malalaking companies yan, but they are well known not for their benefits and compensation, but because they are good training grounds. So, hindi dapat kayo magagalit pag ginagawa kayong training ground. Kasi sabihin nun, magaling kayong magturo. And you can use that. Bank on that. HR people, Yung mindset nyo po na tipong kailangan pa mas masaya ang mga empleyado, hindi. Sustainability of the business. Always sustainability of the business. Because if the mindset is sustainability of the business, then you would take care of the employees. Automatic na ngayon yun. And if you take care of the employees will take care of the business. Kasi if you only are taking care of the employees without thinking about the sustainability of the business, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, magsasara ang kumpanya nyo. Gagastos kayo ng sobrang laki, pero walang return on investment. Importante din yun. Yun ang marka ng isang magaling na HR. When you are able to take care of the business, which results to taking care of the employees, which further results to employees taking care of the business din. Okay? So yun po, yun ang palagi nating sinasabi. At tulad ng sabi ni Sir Alan, locus of control. 2 bagay lang yan, what you can control, what you can't control. Pag nai-stress, hingang malalim, isipin ninyo, is this something that I can control? If I can control this, how do I control this? If I cannot control this, let go. Okay, let go. Wag niyo hayaan na mag-occupy yan ng rent-free na space sa utak ninyo if it's something that you cannot control. Kasi wala ka namang magagawa. You cry, you tear out your hair, you shout to your heart's content. Kung hindi mo yan makokontrol, walang mangyayari. Sayang ang energy. I always say this, yung energy ninyo, yung time ninyo, it's a very, very limited commodity. Take care of it. Gamitin lamang sa mga bagay. Nabanggit to kanina ni Sir Ben. Gagamitin mo lamang ang oras mo, ang energy mo to worthwhile causes. Is it worth it? If it's not worth it, let go. Okay? At dyan na naman po nagtatapos ang isang episode na naman ng HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay at Iba pa. Nako, maraming salamat po para sa panonood ng ating isang episode. May humabol po si Sir Jeff Danny, sabi niya, let them go and they will realize later, sana hindi ako nag-resign and they will call back, is there any vacancy? True. Spend your time and energy sa ibang importanteng bagay. Huwag kakalimutan yan. Bukas Monday na naman po, kaya dapat conserve energy dahil bukas papasok tayo ng maaga. It's a beautiful morning na naman tomorrow para sa ating mga trabaho. And we'll see you next Sunday para sa isa na naman pong episode ng HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay at Iba pa. Maraming salamat po. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Stay safe.
Maraming salamat everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye everyone.
Bye-bye.